Well, to sit here and see the building as quiet as it is right now is no fun for any of us. So, a lot of great memories came out of the last 8 months here, and a lot of enjoyment being around our players, being around our staff. That extends to our front office as well, Robert Esch and his group have done a fabulous job of making us feel so at home here and get settled into the area. So we walk out with a lot of positives. Probably would have been a different conversation a few days ago. I think it takes a couple days to kind of decompress and to realize that we're not playing anymore, and that's no fun for any of us. We felt like at the end there was we underachieved and felt like we should still be playing hockey right now. But hey, it's sports. Your opponents always have a say, and we ran into a tough one in Rochester, and you learn and move forward.
On this side, spectator, we got this. We got Rochester. We could do that easily. What changed with Rochester? What do you think they threw at you that was different?
Well, I think their timing was really good. They were playing very good hockey towards the end of the year. I thought they were a team that we found ways to expose during the course of the season. Felt like we were able to still produce offensively as the series wore on. We were averaging 3 goals a game, and for our team that was always good enough to have success. But I think our defense is an area we have to continue to put a focus on, and they have good prospects and good players, and and it was a solid series. And at the end of it, we went into a building on Game 4, and we played a really dominant type of game, and didn't follow through on the most important one, Game 5.
When do you start putting next year's puzzle together, all the pieces? When does that start?
It will start at a different level. As always, we're always looking to help and look at ways to improve the New Jersey Devils. That's always our priority, and to organizationally have a good, healthy environment. And we feel like players here in Utica improved as players and made steps in the right direction. As you move forward, so a lot of those players will be back, and you want to keep that maturation process moving forward, and that is the step we're in right now, is identifying how you put together a team that can not only be successful on the ice, but help bolster the New Jersey Devils' ultimate goal, which is to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now.
Kevin, your first year in the organization, new players. Obviously, you said you felt the team underachieved. What do you take away as a coach from your first season with the organization?
Hey, it's a great learning process. All of a sudden you're surrounded by different people. I wasn't familiar personally with many of the people in the organization, from the management level in New Jersey to our staff here in Utica, and obviously the players. So to me, it's a two-way street. You try to impart as much of your past experiences onto people, and you look for that in return. And that might come from a 20-year-old kid that you're learning something from. So it's just that continual learning process that is always, I think, creates a healthy environment. And if there's one thing that we certainly feel like we had this year, it was that healthy environment, that our players came every day and they worked hard to get better every day.
Obviously, you mentioned learning experience. How are you a better coach now compared to 8 months ago?
Well, we played a different system. I think we really were in sync and tried to stay in sync with New Jersey's style of play. Specifically in the D zone coverage and your rush coverage, you want to make sure that when a player gets called up, that's a seamless transition. So those are areas that are really the focus for me, that played a style that I've never played before and never coached before. So to me, it was a great chance to see the game in a little bit of a different way, and it felt like for large swaths of the season that we were successful in playing that style.
I was talking to one guy on the team this year, and he said that first round loss is motivation going into next season. As a coach, I mean, is that something that you'd like to hear from a player?
Yes.
After
Yeah.
underwhelming, I guess, playoff series.
Yeah. Hey, that's it. Hey, what do? You can feel sorry for yourself, and you can go through the quote-unquote mourning process of not being in the mix anymore. And at the end of it, you take what you've learned and you make strides to get back to where you were, which is to have home ice advantage and to get in the playoffs. And you know what? That's a challenge in and of itself.
You had a lot of prospects this year too. Are you happy with the growth of most of those players anyway? I mean, your Holtz and Foote, Thompson, Dawes, Schmidt.
Yeah, Riley Walsh. You can keep going on. I mean, I think that was part of the attraction to working in the organization to begin with. Is you look at our prospect pool, and I think it's large and it's healthy, and there's some guys that you are looking forward to following their career paths and to see how their summer goes and to see the steps that they make moving forward. And it's no different than when I first got into the coaching game. My first coaching job is, I had Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlaff on the bench as young rookies, right out. And now those players, Getzy just announced his retirement. And it's been so enjoyable to follow his career and to watch the steps from on the ice to becoming a great leader and a great player to starting a family. And, that's the enjoyment to me, are the people you get to meet and the people you get to be around.
What was your biggest surprise this year? I mean, you have to navigate through a lot of different things. You usually got injuries and call-ups and stuff, but it's still a little bit, COVID played a little bit of a role there, probably in December. But maybe the biggest surprise for you and this team this year?
Well, I think I'd heard the stories, and this is not an exaggeration, but to play in front of our knowledgeable fan base here and to have the atmosphere that we had at our home games was, I won't call it a surprise, but it was just an enjoyable part of the job, and a part that for me, you don't take that for granted. And part of the reason you don't take it for granted, because we went through a year and a half where we had no fans in the building, and you realize what a big part of the sports the fan base is. And it's you just look around the walls here and to see the banners that the kids put up for our players as we entered the playoffs. It's humbling and exciting, and it's very fortunate to feel like you're part of something.
Do you expect? I know there are 2 openings in New Jersey on the coaching staff. Do you expect at this point in time to be back here next year? Or?
I do, yeah. I've signed a 3-year deal here, so still got a couple years left here, and I like to think that our young players took strides in the right direction this year. And for me, I love coming to work here every day and to be a part of this organization. And I speak on behalf of all our staff of working here in Utica and working for the Comets. And I think there's a good rapport between your management and your hockey operations here. And the game plan is to go in here and keep in touch with the players over the course of the summer and make strides to keep building on the foundation that we put in place this season.
Do you expect Sergey and Ryan back on the staff?
Yeah, there's always, every year there's always discussions going in all directions, and for me, that was strength of our staff was, I think we were cohesive and we spoke as a strong unit, and to me, I think they made me better every day. I don't think I'm the easiest guy to work for. I can be, ask a lot of questions, and I want a lot of answers, and at the end of it, we always walked out, and I felt like it was a really healthy environment, and I'm very appreciative of the staff that we had here, and I think there's going to be plenty of options for both those guys to further their coaching careers, and to me, it's that's part of the fun of being around a young group of players, and having such great staff around that we were able to go out and whether it was a practice or a game, as for the most part, there was a lot of more enjoyable nights this year than nights like at last week.
Obviously, you mentioned team underachieved. Do you have to take more time after the season ends like that, or is it you're always trying to want to be in group, but you have to think about it more when you have another result like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey, you sit there, you're watching, playoffs, whether it's the American League playoffs or the NHL playoffs, and you're taking in the style of play. You're taking in personnel on different teams, and I think you're watching, and I think like the other, how many ever, 20 some odd NHL coaches and American League coaches that are in the same boat. There's you get a little play the shoulda coulda game, and at the end of it you don't sweat it. You just got to keep on learning and keep on striving to get your team to a point that they can have sustained success in May and June, when you really want them to be playing.
Okay. Good. Well, I guess then my last one, what was your message to maybe some of the players or the whole team as they all kind of got out of here last week?
Well, you walk out, and not to kid yourself that it was a hugely successful year. We feel like there was a lot of good things that did go on here. At the end of it, the whole goal is to win the Calder Cup, to win the Stanley Cup organizationally, to have that kind of success, and this organization has seen that before, and that's what you strive to get to.